welcome back to another episode of Minority Reportz podcast and digital series. I'm your host, Mona Shaikh. I am very excited. I think I'm very excited about my guest, but today's guest has a very delicate place in my heart, mainly because I am a single person and they specialize in making single people not so single. She has an incredible academy she runs, which is called Smart Dating Academy. Please welcome Bela Gandhi. Bela, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
I am so very excited about having you, mainly because I've been watching you on different various shows, on YouTube videos, and as a single person living in Los Angeles, which is, I personally think, the cesspool of dating. There's just so many challenges. So I first I want to talk about that poster you have in the background that says success. And you were going to talk about it, and then I cut you off because I wanted to save it for on camera. So please tell me about that poster.
So it obviously needs to be framed. It looks a little janky, like scotch tape to my office door. I mainly put it out there so my kids would have to read it every time they walk past it. But it's called The 21 Rules for Success. And it's 21 Suggestions for Success by H. Jackson Brown Jr. Now, I grew up as the child of Indian immigrants living in the suburb. Probably many of us can relate to this. And suddenly I came home at the age of 16 from school one day, and there was this framed print hanging in our family room. And I said, what on earth is that? So it was this print, and it says, the rules for success. Rule number 1, marry the right person. This one decision will determine 90% of your happiness or 90% of your misery.
Wow.
And so I had to give a TED-type talk in Chicago about how we choose partners. And for whatever reason, 20 years later, that poster came into my mind. Yeah. And I found it on the internet, and my parents were in the audience, and they couldn't believe that I remembered it. But I thought, my God, it's made such a profound impact on my life. I'm like, I remember that poster, and now I'm doing this business. And it really is so important, guys, for all of you that are single out there that might be watching this or listening to this. It's really learning that our genetics, our evolution, a lot of this doesn't steer us towards what we think of as a good soulmate or a partner. Today, we're living with antiquated old DNA that leads us to pick partners that lead to 50% divorce rates on first marriage, 67% on second marriages, 74% on third marriages. So it's astonishing what's actually out there and happening. So if you feel like you're the last single person out there, you're not, and we're here to help.
Oh my God. I always feel like I am the last person. So here's my story. So I was married. I got married very young. So I was born in Pakistan. I moved at the age of 15 to Jersey, and then very quickly moved out of there because who the hell wants to live in Jersey? And then please don't go to Jersey, especially Jersey City. Jesus, God awful. And then I was like, I got to get the hell out of here. And then I moved out to New York by the age of 18. So I was new to America. I was only 3 years here. And then met a man much older than myself, and then ended up being with him. Got married at 22 and then got divorced at 27. And I just hit another birthday this past Monday. And I am just in a place where this is the one thing. Yeah, this is the one thing that always goes to my mind. Is that there's a lot of broken people in Los Angeles. I don't know what the dating pool is like in Chicago, but because it's 75% entertainment, it just kind of attracts a certain type of person. Maybe I am also broken. I think we are all broken, and some are maybe more broken than others. But I feel, and you talked about this, and I watched one of your videos, you said you have to fix your picker. My picker is broken, maybe just non-existent. And it also comes from, you talked about the kind of people you grew up with, right? My parents had a very tumultuous marriage. They did not have a poster of success that they pasted at home. They were constantly fighting. There was a lot of physical violence at home. There was a lot of domestic violence at home. So we grew up with these this role models that were, quite frankly, fucked up, right? Like they were just grew up with that. So, and you're like on your subconscious level, picking out people that are broken because they feel like home. So how Yeah. So I've been 13 years of therapy. I'm very proud of it.
Yay, good for
Thank you.
you, Mona.
Thank you. Because I wanted to work on myself first. I can't blame my stuff on other people. I got to fix myself first. And I continue to go to therapy. I'm very proud to go to therapy. And you know that in the South Asian culture, there's a stigma against mental, health and stuff. So my question to you is, how does one fix their picker besides going to therapy and doing, self-growth work? How does one fix their picker?
I mean, it's both of those things. It's therapy, it's personal growth. And for what we do, I mean, we do a lot of things to help single people, but I think our superpower is helping people to fix their picker. Ironically, if you would have told me this, Mona, 10 years ago when I started the business, that that's what we would be helping people to do.
Yeah.
I would have thought, oh my, I had no idea. I thought I wanted to matchmake people. But when I started to do that, I started to see it was the same shit over and over again. Same dude, different face. 10 years later, it's like, wait a second. Why do you keep gravitating towards people that aren't good for you? And then I started to do a lot of reading and education around attachment theory and how what you see at home has a profound impact on what we're comfortable with, the partners that we seek out in romantic relationships, and then more importantly, how do you unwind those patterns, right? And what I have found is without intervention, it's hard for people. And it's like I said in the beginning, the divorce rates for second marriages are 67%. Not because anybody's stupid or clueless. It's like this is something we should be taught in schools. Yeah. We're not taught how to pick people that make us happy. So what we do now is, I mean, look, I'm the child of Gujarati immigrants, right? My parents met on a Sunday. They were engaged on Thursday. They were married 72 hours later. Right. Wow. So it was like, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Suddenly they're still married 51 years at this point. So right, and not without issues, right? No marriage is perfect by any means. I'm married as well. And I think that really having someone help you to understand, like your genetics are going to lead you this way. Your nurture is going to lead you this way. But the right way for you is actually this way, and really honing in on focusing on the things that make you happy, number one, versus the quantitative. I want him to be tall and have 50 stamps in his passport and be really funny and blah, 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 and all the same stuff that I hear. I'll show you every single day how we do this, because you ask with our clients, like we are doing physical exercises to reframe how people are doing this. What do you want versus what you need, and transforming that, and then sticking with people, because this is not a one and done, right? If you're 40 or 50 years old at this right now, you've probably been in love 3 or 4 times maybe in your life, right? So if you think about it, the amount of time that it takes to find a relationship is one, but then to unwind those patterns of the last 20 years of the way we've dated and what we've become comfortable with, it takes a lot of work. But I'll tell you what, it's great work, and it is so possible to fix your picker, and love will always come to you in an unexpected package when you use this process.
So, okay. So that
was a lot. I know. I'm a lot.
That was a lot, and it was great.
Okay. I'm like, I'm going to give you everything I can.
I got everything. I caught everything that you said. I get everything that you say. I think my thing about dating is that, we never had any. So for me, coming from the background that I come from, I have created a list, which I think a lot of women do. Maybe some guys do too, of like things that I want in a guy. Exactly. The list.
This?
Yeah. I want it to be this. I want it to be that. But those are like such surface things. And it's so funny you just said that. Like if you're like close to 40 or you're like you're past your 30s or whatever, you've at least fallen in love 3 to 4 times. And I thought that was odd, because I had been like, there was this one time I was really in love, and then other times I have kind of fallen in love and really liked people that didn't really work out. And I thought that was abnormal. So thank you for verifying that I am not entirely abnormal. So that's comforting. This unwinding process, how long does it take? I mean, I've been in therapy for 13 years.
Good. I'm glad that you have. And that's going to help you to expedite this, right? The therapy is very much probably focusing on what happened and the why. And now, like a process like ours and what we help people to do is very active and it's in the moment, right? You're processing. Therapy and coaching go hand in hand. So it's very much in the moment, like we're doing with people is we're like, look, you think you can go jump out of a plane because you sat through a 3-hour skydiving primer, right? Ain't nobody going to let you jump out of that plane alone. We're teaching you how to correct your patterns and fix your picker. But my team, you got somebody strapped to you that's going to go through the dating process with you online, in real life, whether you get set up and she's looking in there, one of your coaches going, oh my God, that's a narcissist. This one looks like he was an addict. And really helping people, we teach what the red flags are, what the feelings are like. Yeah. And then it takes a long time, even for our team, right? Our clients will go, well, this one's so exciting. I'm like, he's exciting because he's put your nervous system in a state of anxiety. And that's how you grew up, witnessing the things that you did. So that level of activation feels like excitement, but what it is it's actually comfort for you because you grew up in an environment that provokes so much anxiety. So now a good normal person comes along and you're like, boring. Like I need some excitement. I need a little edge. I was like, I got you. Here we're going to dull that edge. And this is how, and it takes months. Sometimes it takes years, right? I have clients that are 25 to 77 years old right now on our roster.
Wow. 77 years old. I think I might be more attracted to that person more than anyone. It's
a woman.
It's a woman. Oh, I'm sorry. So there's that one. I think I've worked out most of my daddy issues. I had a lot of daddy issues growing up. This is a true story, Bella. When I was 18, I met a 65-year-old man, and I married him at 22. He was like 69. And by the time I was 27, he was like in his 70s, and we got divorced. And people look at me and they're like, Mona, why? What the hell is wrong with you? And I was just like, there was a lot wrong with me back then, and I think, I feel like when you live in certain cities, I don't know what dating is like in Chicago. I think that maybe the quality of people is a lot better.
It's like New York, it's like LA. It's big city, lots of quantity. People feel like, where's the quality, right?
Where's
so
the
it's
quality?
LA
is so entertainment heavy that it attracts a certain kind of, how should I put it, fucked up person.
Spotlight seeking individuals.
And look, I it's not that I am, so exclusive of it because I'm a stand-up comic and I'm a producer and I perform and, go all over.
And you're awesome.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm working on that part. But you were just talking about narcissists. Tons of them here. Tons.
Oh.
I have a question for you. I am currently dating someone. And I want to maybe spitfire some things at you. And you tell me if this person's a narcissist. Can we play that little game?
Let's do it. Quick round.
Okay, quick round. This person never asks me anything about me. Very rarely. This person has a 6-year-old. They're the exact same age as me. When I point out my needs to them, they find distractions and then fuck off, whatever they need to fuck off. I started dating them in February. It's May now. We've already broken up twice. I cut it off with them twice. And third time, again, we reconnected. And this person, told me, I think the second time we were, our second go around, that they had butterflies. And the third time they came to me and said, while being pretty tipsy and drunk, that they have fallen in love with me.
So wait a second, was that between breakups, you mean? Or this was on the first, second, and third date?
Not first, second, and third date. Our dating was a little off because the quarantine had just hit.
Yeah.
Date, and they were like the last 2 bars were open and we went for drinks. Like literally that's what happened. The quarantine hit. And then this person ended up like staying with me because their housing situation is a little bit in shambles. And turns out their life is pretty much in shambles. Their work is struggling, and they're also in the entertainment business. They have a 6-year-old. They have a tumultuous relationship with their mother. They have a tumultuous relationship with their ex. Not the best of relationship with the sister. So I have been seeing these red flags. I don't know. Do you need more information, or is that good enough? Or,
I mean, it sounds like you're dealing with someone who's just not good for you and not going to be a good partner for you. And we call them high GHQ guys, high and good husband qualities, right? Yeah. And so for you, whether he is a clinically diagnosable per the DSM-5, narcissistic personality disordered person or not, look, the point here is he is maybe acting narcissistically towards you, and that's not what you want, right? And so that's really the question. I always tell people, like, people show us who they are. It's up to us to believe them. So if you're saying, I need this, and I'm assuming you're a very reasonable person, their reasonable needs, their emotional needs, their physical time needs, right? Their words of affirmation needs, their whatever it is. And if this person is basically saying, hey, peace out, talk to the hand, then you sort of know where you stand, right? But if they're like, hey, I don't think I can do that, and this is why, but this is what I can do, okay, then you have somebody who's going to try and meet you, and then you can decide whether or not it makes sense. But if you've been together for 3 months, under duress, essentially, you've sort of had like 911 emergency situation, like, oh my God, we met at the bottom of a whiskey bottle just before COVID. And then we moved in together because I let him in because he had a tumultuous home situation. I would tell you, you got to slow your roll on that. Like, you're generous, you're a giver. And you probably learn that being a young girl. If I give and I keep the peace and I'm a good girl and pacify him and help him, everything will be okay, right? And here I would tell you, you know what? Slow and steady. They need to earn you.
Yes, agreed.
Nobody gets you up front.
100%. I think I have recently discovered that I have what you call a codependent behavior. So I have a lot of that. I started reading this book called Codependent No More, and it really rocked my world because I'm like textbook codependent. And I think it comes so much from where I come from, just always trying to make the peace because there's always chaos. The 2 authority figures in my family are always bickering and fighting. So you're always trying to just smooth things out. You're just like, it's fine. Let's fix this. Let's fix that. And in the process, you end up becoming this fixer, but then you're breaking down while you're fixing everybody else, and I'm just like, oh, I'm falling apart, but nobody cares about my needs. I'm always worried about other people's needs. And I just don't want to be there anymore. So like for people like myself, you go to therapy, you fix that. I always believed, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I always thought that sometimes I see girls that don't necessarily have a lot going on, but they found this amazing man. Well-to-do, tall, handsome, loves them, worships them. And I always thought for the longest time that men have to be manipulated into a relationship. Please digress on that.
I don't know that you would ever want to be with someone that you would have to manipulate into a relationship, and a relationship that is based on fraud, right? And manipulation ultimately is going to have a finite end, good or bad, feeling whether they divorce or not, they break up or not, right? At some point, les jeux sont faits, right? Yeah. And so I think the key for you to know is that good men will find you. They will fall in love with you for who you are. You don't need to manipulate yourself into someone you are not, which I'm guessing that's what you're intending with this conversation, or by asking the question. She manipulated him, pretending to be Susie Homemaker when she's actually not at all that person.
That's right.
That's right. Exactly. And so at a certain point, right, and he probably knew that in his gut, and he did it anyway.
Mm. Interesting.
right?
Interesting.
I mean, I think red flags, look.
I think men are stupid. I just think men are stupid, and I think women are sharp. And I'm just like, oh, he's stupid. He doesn't know. He doesn't know that's happening to him. He doesn't even know.
I work with a lot of guys, Mona, in retrospect, they do know. They knew that there were red flags, just like women know that there are red flags. I have never, in the thousands of people I've helped in the last decade, not one person has come to me and said, when I asked a question like, okay, this is awful, you dealt with this for this long, when did you first see the red flags? I hear 2 words from people right away.
Oh,
but I ignored them. Okay, so now if you think about your prior relationships and you think about the red flags, they were probably there right away, real close to the beginning, but you, for whatever reason, said, oh, he's so tall and he's so cute and he's so, and it's better than being alone, and whatever game, whatever smoke and mirrors manipulation we do to our own brains.
Yeah.
That's where the manipulation is. Like, this is okay. No, it's not okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, 100%. I 100% agree with you. Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. I think I've also noticed, I've also come across some ladies here who see a guy who's eligible and has shit together, and within 2 months, they're pregnant. And I'm just like, oh, is that the way to get a man? Because I don't want to do it that way. You know, I even asked my mom, I asked my conservative Pakistani mother, she was like, because she's getting so desperate at this point, she was just like, because I'm past the age of 25, and you know, in our culture, that means I'm an expired human being. You know, I'm just like, I'm a corpse. I'm a corpse. I'm like a walking corpse with makeup on. And my mom was just like, just find a good man and just get pregnant. I'm like, so you'll be fine, me going home. Right. So I grew up Muslim, and I grew up in a pretty conservative Muslim household. And for us, you know, showing up pregnant at a house in our culture or in our like upbringing, it's like a no. Like, no, you don't do that. You don't get pregnant before you get married. And I think it's the same, and they see Indian culture is the same thing.
In most cultures.
Yeah. It's just frowned upon. And my mom's just getting so desperate. Well, she's like, just get pregnant. Just find a good guy, just get pregnant. And I'm like, I don't want it. Like, I don't want to like get pregnant and then find out this person's not compatible and then have a miserable life, not just for myself, but for this innocent person that I just brought into this world. Now I'm past the age of, I don't want children anymore. I'm just over it. It's just too much for my nervous system. I think I can barely work on myself and get my shit together. But you got married in 1997, okay? You were what?
I was a child.
Yeah, you were in your 20s.
I was a baby. So was my husband. We were young when we got married. And, you know, I put myself through the process that I put my clients through today after having some bad dating patterns. And I had a very progressive family. They never mandated, you can't have a boyfriend, you have to date someone Indian. Like, I've never been on a date with an Indian, believe it or not, because we had no access to Indian guys growing up. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, and it was my Indian girlfriends, and there was one dude that was our age, and he was like our brother, right? We had no access, right? So we all dated these white guys, and and I dated some good ones, dated some bad ones. And I'm a finance person by education. So I would look for patterns like, wow, the common denominator in the good things and the bad things and the acceptance of these people was me. That's like, right. What do I now? What works? What doesn't work? Who makes me happy? And that's what led me to my husband. And we had been friends for 6 years. We went to high school together. Now we graduated college and we started dating. We got married quickly, and now we're happily married for 23 years, 2 kids. I know
that. So you didn't even know that back then you were experimenting almost on yourself when you were creating this system that is now your business.
That is now my business. And of course it didn't include online dating back then, because really the internet was just being launched around then. So, and what I realized is I knew how to do this. I had helped so many people around me as a hobby. I was like the yenta, the like, no, you can't be with him. Like, this one is a good one. Nail that one down. Lock that up. You're done. Get the ring. This is how we're going to get you the ring. And this was like my part-time, fun job for my friends. I'm like, okay, here's how you're going to get the ring. And this is how we're going to do it. Get the ring. They're all happily married because they met good people ultimately. And so when I started this business in 2009, at the end of '09, I thought I would matchmake people, which is what I thought I wanted to do. But when I started to do it, I thought, my God, this is enabling. This is enabling people that are codependent to continue their appetite for narcissists, to keep the dysfunctional magnet dance going.
Yes.
I don't want to do this. And so 6 months in, I rebranded as Smart Dating Academy, literally exactly 10 years ago, to teach people how to do this properly. Because back to the poster, 90% of your happiness, your misery is going to be determined by who you marry or who your long-term partner is.
Sure.
You and I know, you've been there. I've been there. You know how true that can be on both sides.
100%. I think for me, I mean, I don't know. I kind of go through this thing where I'm like, do you think there is such a thing as soulmate? Or is that like a made up thing? Like, what is that? This whole soulmate thing. And by the way, I really think rom-coms have really messed up love life for most people, because it's like given us this weird fantasy world of what love looks like. Quite frankly, I don't even know what love is. So what do you think there is such thing as soulmate?
I think that you have many soulmates, if you want that word. Another word, I am like, there's many lids to your pot. There's many potential great matches for you that are out there, but are you picking the right people, right? And usually doesn't have a lot to do with the external quantitative things that we obsess on, right? Because remember, attraction is nature's way of tricking us into attachment, right? Lust leads us to have sex, which leads us to attachment hormones, especially as women. Herein lies the oldest trick in the book. And I think most people don't realize that. And all we focus on is attraction and the exterior, and not really thinking about, not taking the long game.
Yes. Yes.
This is a partner in life. This is a partner in a household. This is a partner in love. And who is going to be a good partner for you?
Yes. I mean, so I'm gonna step back and play a bit of a devil's advocate. Okay, you're Indian, I'm Pakistani. Ibuprofen, Advil, same thing. For me, I look at. I mean, for you, I think you also grew up with really cool, well-adjusted, liberal parents who were just like, just be happy, just find happiness.
Totally.
But I think for a lot of thissies, that is not the priority. The priority is security. The priority is, culture, priority of, restoring tradition. And then happiness is like maybe like 10th on the list, right? Because the other things take priority. Do you think that's shifting? And I don't know how many clients you have that are thissies or, that are non-white pretty much. Do you think that dynamic is shifting where happiness is becoming a priority and everything else is kind of going, down the list, but happiness top?
I think that in some cases, yes. In some cases, no. I think we're expecting more out of marriage than any civilization has in the history. If you look at the history of marriage, it was transactional, right? It was what you're talking about. It was security. It was cultural preservation, right? This goes back to kings and dynasties and the way peasants, like, well, I'll marry you because your farm's a little bigger than mine, and we'll have something to eat, and we're going to die by the age of 30 anyway, right? So marriage was transactional for, except for maybe the last 100 years, right? And now we use words like, I want you to be my husband, my best friend, my lover, basically be a replica of me, right? And so the expectations are higher than ever, and yet our DNA pointed us to 200,000 years ago. So in a sense, we're more spun around than ever. Now you add into the fact, women, we used to be dependent on men, right? They protect and provide. We take care of the home. Now, society has transformed, right? And therefore, marriage has transformed. It's like, look, if I'm a alpha, high potential woman, I can work. I want to be with a dude, right, that can sort of keep up with me, right? So the whole dynamic of what we're looking for has turned over on its head. So I think we're in this state of flux right now.
Yes, and I 100% agree with you. And I was just having this conversation with someone last week where this is the first time in the history of humanity where women make their own money. We own our own properties. Like, we don't have to rely on a man.
It's think about what that means and how lucky you and I are to be on earth. My mom would always tell me, if you were going to be a woman on earth, you were living in the best time in the best country.
Agreed.
Period. Right? And so think about the opportunities that you and I have to be on this interview, right? To talk about this openly, to be two successful women doing the things that we really want to do, that light us up, and be able to do that. That didn't exist. So it's thrown the idea of, I don't just need your money, dude. I want you to be someone that I love, that respects me, that respects my career and my growth just as much as I respect yours. And I don't think ultimately that our DNA has caught up with what we actually want in a partner. And we're prioritizing shit that doesn't matter.
Yes, agreed. I mean, do you think this whole thing that is happening right now, and I feel like, just like you said, we're in flux. I mean, I feel like my generation, and even your, our generation, the people in their 30s and their 40s and their 50s are in this strange place where we are going through this transition where men have to adjust their attitudes and their mentality, that it's okay if a woman makes more money and I gotta put my ego in check. Like, it's okay for me to be a stay-home mom, a stay-home dad if I need to be. If my wife or my girlfriend makes more money, I have to learn to be okay with it. If she's more educated than me, I have to learn to be okay with it. I feel like it's really messing up dating. Do you see that?
I mean, I see it on both sides, to be candid. Right? I see men needing to make the adjustments, but I also see women needing to make adjustments, right? And so, especially when women come to this, like, I'm successful, I'm professional, I make this much money, I have this many degrees, so he should have more than me, right? It's not even sometimes equal to, it's greater than. So we still come to it with those instincts. I'm like, but if you're not worried about your next meal or providing for yourself, why don't you search out someone that's going to be a good partner to you? Why does the balance sheet matter at that point, right? But we're still wired for certain things. So it's men on one side, and I see the same mentality issues with women. Now that I have this, you've got to earn 2x what I earn because I might want to stay home. And it's like, wait a second, you can't have it both ways right now.
Right.
And so what do
you see on the guys' end? Like, the guys were like, what? Oh, I make all this money, so I want her to stay home and be a good wife and be a good mother. Is that what you see?
Some guys, yes, right? You can have some men that are like, I want a traditional relationship. I want to work and bring home the money, and I want you to take care of the house and the kids, and it's traditional, right? So a man like that will seek out a woman who is okay with that ultimately. So, but then there are other men that love professional, successful, ambitious women that have desires for that opportunity, right? Like, I know I went through a period when I left my corporate job, and then I had 3 years of not, kind of having the confidence to actually go out there and do what I'm doing. And I know that those 3 years with my husband were tough for both of us. Like, all of a sudden I was, someone who had this career and things to talk about, and suddenly all of that went missing, and more of it was my problem with it, right? And feeling empty and like just having lost my footing. But it was really tough. And now that I went through that, and I know I'm a better human being when I have outside pursuits of just my children and my house. I'm a better mom, wife, friend, human being if I'm working. I learned that in a painful way, having navigated that. Like, maybe I could do this. No, that's for other people. It's not for you. And so, but having a partner that says, yeah, and I like that.
Right.
And I like that. I like the fact that you're not content. Like, you're always wanting to learn something, to grow. Like, you have things, you're reading, you're learning. Like, that is really attractive to most men. To some men, it's not. But then those aren't going to be the guys for you, right? Yeah. And it's okay.
Yes.
Move on.
I mean, I come across so many guys who are just like, oh my God, I want you. And then they'll get to know me. And I'm, look, I'm a woman of my own convictions. I have my own views, and they'll get to know me. And I feel a lot of times, and I'll bring in this female stand-up comic aspect of it. A lot of guys, I meet three different kind of guys. Okay. And I think female stand-up comics really, really struggle with dating, because what happens is when a guy sees us on stage, right, and we're like killing the room, we're doing rooms of 800. The biggest room I've done thus far, not room, but I did 60,000 people, right? That's a lot.
Wow, that's huge. That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. So I emceed the Women's March in San Francisco last year, and I got to perform in front of 60,000 people, right? So that's a
badass. Badass.
Thank you.
Badass.
But when a guy hears that, right, and I see that in a lot of guys, right, they're like, oh, you're a stand-up comic. So I'll get the first kind of guy, and I really come across more on the Middle Eastern and Desi guys who are immediately intimidated. Mm-hmm. They're trying to like demean me, or try to like say something off color, or try to put me down. And I'm like, okay, fuck this guy. No. He's out. Yeah. Bye. Goodbye. Bye. The second kind of guy I meet, he's fascinated. But he's intimidated. So he's like, and the one thing that keeps coming out of his mouth is, you're not going to use this on stage, are you? You're not going to talk about this on stage, are you? And I'm like, don't flatter yourself. You're not that hot. Like, I'm not going to talk about you. Like, seriously. I was like, until you really fuck up royally, then that's going on stage. But until then, you're fine. You're in safe zone, okay? And the third kind of guy is, I know that you do this thing, but we don't need to talk about it. I don't need to empower you. I don't need to encourage you. Let's just talk about everything else. And it's just like, well, I can't talk about everything else because this is a huge part of my life, right? So it's like these three kind of men, we just kind of bounce between, especially as female stand-up comics. We all kind of go through this. So what do we do, Bella? What do female comics do? What do we do? Start doing my comedy in a burqa? What do I do? So they feel less intimidated? What am I doing?
Remember, so you mentioned three kinds of guys, right?
Yeah.
And in a sense, this is what you're putting out there. These three kinds of guys exist. And this is what I get as a female comic. And so what does your brain now see? Those three kinds of guys. Who are you allowing into your dating life? Those three kinds of guys. Because your brain has an ego bias and it wants to be right because you're a smart girl. You're a successful girl. Like, see, there it is again. So you have this sort of perception bias right now. So instead, what I would tell you to do is you need to really work on changing that perception that good guys do exist. Yeah. And the guy, I'll tell you what, I'm going to put out there, here's the kind of guy that I want for you.
Okay.
You're going to be on stage and you're going to have the mic in your hand and people are going to be laughing and there could be 500 or 50,000 people. And he's standing at the back of the room and you're up there in sequins, rocking the house. And he elbows the person next to him and he points up at the stage and he goes, can you believe she's with me? Look what I got.
Oh, God.
Okay. That's who's out there for you.
Wow.
Okay.
No.
I want to rebuild in your own mind.
Yeah.
Who's out there, right? For you. And he exists. Many he's exist that are that guy. But when we're sticking to the Holy Trinity that you delineated a few moments ago, these are the guys. They're either intimidated by me or they don't want me to use the content on stage, or they're like, we're not going to talk about it. Like, I don't even want to deal with that. Those are not good guys.
These are horrible options.
These are horrible options at the end of the day. And so now you need to create a fourth kind of guy, your own high GHQ guy. High and good husband qualities. That's the guy that's going to stand at the back of the room and look in the front with you at the mic and say, look what I got. Okay? He exists. And I know you do because I can feel you feeling it through the screen.
I think, you know what? Sometimes for me, Bella, this is a true story. I sometimes get caught up because I've created my list. I get caught up in like, is this, so I want to be with somebody who's a successful entrepreneur, who is like, does their own thing. They've, maybe they're in entertainment, maybe they're not. But, they're either in tech or entertainment. I have like these professions picked out. And I feel like sometimes maybe I might even meet a nice guy, but because he doesn't fit that blueprint, I dismiss them because they don't fit that blueprint. And coming from the kind of background that I come with, I'm just like, this is a blueprint. I'm sticking with it, and that's it. Like, I'm not going, farther away from it. Do you think that women are global cultures, it's not even just the Desi culture, globally, are just taught to be caregivers and give more than they get? Is that a wiring thing that you come across women that we're always doing that? And does that, mess us up in the dating world?
It can, right? And especially if you grow up with trauma and you've been a peacekeeper, codependent, and you're the nurturer and the giver, it can definitely attract you and let you accept the wrong kinds of people. But I think ultimately being a nurturing, caring, warm person is an amazing thing. Now, what you have to do is find a nurturing, caring, warm back for you.
Yeah.
So never diminish your good. Elevate what you're looking for.
Right.
Absolutely. You want to give your caring and your nurturing and your good to someone who's going to give it back to you instead of take it into the black hole of narcissists.
Right. Which seems to be something that I keep coming across more and more in my life. That I feel. Do you come across a lot of your clients? Where do the narcissists lie more in the men or the women?
Both.
Equal.
Oh, I've seen both.
Really? On like equal level? I always think men are a lot more narcissistic than women.
It depends. I mean, if you look at the entire population density, I think they say 15% of people, suffer from narcissistic personality disorder, diagnosed or undiagnosed. I don't know what that breakdown is for men and women. And it's also, it's a term that we throw around very subjectively. Right? And what does it mean? Just because somebody can behave narcissistically or selfishly doesn't mean that there are a narcissist in general, right? I just did a whole Instagram live show a couple of weeks ago. Like, are you the red flag in your relationship? Are you displaying the red flag behaviors? Because at the end of the day, we all display red flag behaviors because we're humans. We're not perfect. Like, have I done stupid things in my relationship, said things that I regret? 100%. And in a vacuum, could you look at me and go, oh my God, that girl, like, what was that? 100%, right? So we can all display those kinds of behaviors. So I think that it's really kind of men and women.
It's men. Did you say 15% of the population?
Yeah, that's the number that I've seen. Crazy.
Wow. They're probably Trump supporters. But I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. Maybe not. Maybe I'm not kidding. Maybe that's the truth. How different do you think it is? I know that you deal with a lot of non-Desi clients, but how different do you think it is? Do you think this kind of cultural upbringing? I feel like a lot of Desis like myself who are born in Pakistan or born in India and move here, or even American-born Desis, are in like these two worlds, when they don't have cool parents like yours. They're like split up in these two worlds where they have to exist in the West and, behave a certain way and adjust, to blend in. But they also have all these cultural and these familial expectations of how they're supposed to behave and what they're supposed to do and, be a good Indian girl, be a good Pakistani girl, be a good Indian boy. So that just kind of messes up of what your expectations are, what you want from yourself and what your family wants from you. What, do you come across that? And, what do you?
All the time.
Yeah. Like just people being split in these two worlds.
I had an Indian girl, beautiful, 28-year-old pharmacist a couple of years ago, literally stunning.
Yeah, I bet.
And her problem was she had to marry a guy that spoke the absolute Indian dialect that her parents did. And I was like, what? Why? Like, why even forget about it? Okay, and I know how many different cultures there are between our languages, between our cultures, right? To find an identical match when you live in Chicago, come on. And she said, well, because my mom doesn't speak English. I said, then how about you send your mom to English school?
Right. Right.
Like you cannot do, your parents might be mandating something, but you're a big girl now.
Mm-hmm.
You need to break out of that, okay? And your parents ultimately, there might be some plate tectonics in the beginning, but it's like your mom said, I just want you to be happy. Find someone, be happy, do this, right?
Yes.
Have your baby, find a good guy.
Get pregnant.
Implicit, get pregnant, be happy. We'll say be happy is implicit in what she was telling you. Sure. But ultimately, I think so many people, and it's not just in the Indian, Pakistani diaspora, it's in the Jewish culture, in the Polish culture, African Americans, like there's so much to the way and the cultures that we were raised in, right? And then suddenly, even if you're a white person, right? Suddenly you've got 1/3 white people, 1/3 black people, 1/3 Hispanic people. It's like, wait a second, do I need to, like, could I branch out of just white people? I'm like, why not? If you're open to it, do it. Love is going to come to you in an unexpected package. So if you're open to it, do it. So it's really stripping out of this, who are you? Right. And who's going to make you happy? Your parents don't have to live with him. You do. Your parents don't have to build a life with him. You do. Who's going to make you happy? And ultimately, you have to flex that muscle and be able to walk through that path that might be a little treacherous, where they might say, God, I really wanted you to be with someone Pakistani. I really wanted you to be with someone who was an entrepreneur, who was a doctor. Da, da, da. Well, you know what? Here I am, and I'm standing for this, and I believe in this, and this is what's going to work. When I married Andy, my husband's as white as a white person can be. I was the first person in our community to get married, and to get married to a white guy after a girl that was 10 years older got married to a white guy, and there was a divorce, and everyone's like, oh, like, what's going to happen? Like, are you letting her do this? Right? And my parents are like, yeah, we're letting her do it. And it was fine. And I was the first of many. And then one of my best friends married a white guy, and then another one, and another one. And I kind of broke the seal around that. But you have to say, this is, and my dad asked me at 22, okay, you're dating this dude. Do you want me to look for an Indian guy? I was like, no, I'm in a relationship. And his response to me was, okay. Wow. And that was it.
Bella, are your parents adopting? Because I'm up for adoption.
They're amazing.
Thank you. I am so up for adoption at this point. I would love some good Gujarati food and good Gujarati parents. So
You want some roli dal bhat shak? Come on over. My mom is an amazing cook, and now she has an amazing cook.
I bet.
Come to Chicago.
I am so.
We got you.
Well, because of this pandemic, my plan was to come to Chicago this year because I was going to do my shows there. And then, of course, the lovely pandemic happened. Pandemic dating. I have FaceTimed some people. I have talked to them. I have even met up with one person because this person that I'm currently dating is not really working out, and all kinds of red flags are going off. What do you suggest for people in this pandemic dating world? Do you think pandemic is a good time to date? Is it good for dating? What do you think?
Yes, I think it's good to date because I love the fact that it's taken the speed out of dating, right? That it slowed things down, and it's making you actually get to know somebody and connect with them across the screen before you run into each other's arms and make the same mistakes that we've made 1,000 times in the past, where the chemistry is hot. You suddenly are like, oh my God, how did I end up at his house again? Right? And so the screens have slowed that down. So I really hope, I like using the screen and this kind of a connection to really vet someone, because when you look at someone in camera, it's as close to meeting them in person as you can. It takes a 2D photograph and 200 words, and it turns into a 3D person that's contextual. If you and I did this over email and we did this interview, we would have no idea of the context of each other. Even if we did it over the phone, we'd have another dimension, right? But now that you wind together audio and video, you can get a really good sense of, oh no, Bella would think this, or Mona would definitely never do that, because now we feel like we know each other. There is a connection, but I can't reach across and grab you, and you can't reach across and grab me. And there's something, I've seen some beautiful love stories in my own practice start to develop with people through video dating, and they're going old school, and then every night they'll write an email to each other until they can meet. I mean, it's beautiful. The things that are happening can kind of take things back to an old school courtship. So I hope that we don't lose this learning that we have about texting with somebody, talking to them on the phone, making sure that crazy people cannot keep crazy in the closet for more than 10 minutes, trust me. And then if the phone call goes well, do a couple of Skype dates, right? And then, so you're not wasting the hair and the makeup on someone that doesn't deserve it.
Yes, I 100% agree with you. I think for me, what happens, Bella, so I was FaceTiming this guy a few days ago, and we started talking, and he seemed like a nice guy on paper, seemed to have his stuff together, white guy, seemed very nice, age appropriate, owns his own business, so he checks off that entrepreneur thing, age appropriate, checks that off, seems to have his shit together, checks that off, and we start talking, and he immediately starts talking about his relationship with his mother, and the red flags just go like right up, and he's like,
relationship.
Yeah, he goes, quite frankly, if my mom dies today, I really won't miss her. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, have you considered going to therapy? And he goes, what? He was like, why? I'm like, you just said something very alarming to me. So I think for me, what happens is because I've been in therapy for so long, I immediately start psychoanalyzing people. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I feel like it protects me and it saves me from like walking into like this line of fire where it could just come and hurt me and damage me and I'm going right back to the old patterns. Do you feel like psychoanalyzing someone when you're FaceTiming them helps? Or is that being judgmental?
No, are you kidding? That you dodged a bullet. If someone's telling you on the first FaceTime that they like, I hate my mom and I can't wait till she dies, I don't know that you should say that. I can't imagine a human being I would say that about.
I'm like, wait, what?
No one. I mean, literally. And like to say that about your mom and to think that's okay. Basically, he's using you as the therapist. You're not doing the psychoanalyzing. He's using you as a set of ears that he needs. He needs to get into therapy. So his dates are turning into his therapist. So you are not being judgmental to say, peace out, I'm out.
Yeah.
And women, especially my codependents, love to be there and take the broken winged bird and take the bird home and put it in a box and fix the bird, because that's what we know how to do. We know how to fix shit. I'm telling you, here's what I want for you. I gave you one image of the guy. Another one's coming to mind. I want you to think about, if you wanted to buy a house, I want you to buy a house that doesn't even need a coat of paint. It's perfect the way it is. You wouldn't change a thing. You just say, my furniture will look great in this house. That's the kind of man you want. No broken wings. No gut jobs.
Right. What's a gut job?
Gut job. Like you got to gut like the floors and the
gut job. Like you got it. Got it.
No guts.
Bella, what do you think has happened in the courtship in the past, I would say 10 to 15 years, where as single people, we are coming across this phenomenon known as the dick pics. Where did that come from? Do you think a bunch of dudes just got together and were like, you know what a woman would love to see my junk before she gets to know me? Yeah, that's it. What do you think happened? Where do we go from the extraordinary gentleman who would open doors and be chivalrous and show up on time and make dates and, to being like, here's my junk? Like, what happened? Where did we go wrong in society? What happened? Where did that fork come in place?
Women accept it.
I don't know a single woman that accepts dick pics.
I'll tell you what, men do it, and they use it as like worms when they're trying to catch fish. Somebody's gonna bite, and that's what happens. And so they do it again.
I hope somebody does bite their dick off. But that's
Lorena Bobbitt.
Lorena Bobbitt, that stuff. I mean, Lorena is a hero. So that's a. Have you seen her documentary, by the way, on Amazon?
No. Is it good?
It's genius. I do not know so much. She comes from so much physical abuse from this crazy fucking lunatic that she married. And they only show his side, but she is an extraordinary woman. And she was enduring so much physical violence from this guy that one day she just snapped. And that's when she cut his dick off. And a lot of people are just like, oh, she just woke up one day and was just mad and to cut it. It's like, no.
No, it was the straw that
she would go to work with fully bruised arms where she would have to wear full sleeve shirts. And so she was a manicurist, and one of her clients was just like, you are enduring so much physical violence. This is unacceptable. The guy's like a ex-army, ex-military guy. And she was just like, no more. She's like, no more. And she reported, the abuse that she was enduring. And that's when all the shit went downhill. I feel like people like myself who come from so much trauma, I feel like we have as much as I think the question I always ask myself is, am I going to be broken for the rest of my life? How long am I going to be broken for? I don't want to be broken. I don't want to be in this place. I don't want to have these fucked up abusive people keep coming back into my life. But I feel like people like myself, women like myself, we are constantly battled. We have these inner demons that we're constantly fighting between what our self-worth is and what we were told what our self-worth was. And it's just like in this constant battle. I think the battles have went down a little bit, but they're not completely gone. So I actually asked myself, maybe I am not meant to be with anyone because I have so many demons yet still to fight.
You're not broken. Broken would be if you weren't taking a look in the mirror and saying, I still have, I don't have anything. I'm fine. You're fine. I'm fine. That's broken. You're not broken. You're the opposite of broken, right? You can look and say, here's where I need help, but that's not broken.
You don't think that this whole, I'm like going through this like 13 years of like therapy and reading books on codependency, and then the codependency just recently came to my forefront. But what would your advice be for people like myself who have like these really deep-rooted beliefs that are, quite frankly, very challenging to, overturn, because, what we have in our front and our reality, and when we go out there and the kind of people we're meeting are the same kind of people that just keep coming back, and we're trying to break out of these patterns, but like the same people just keep coming back. So what do you have to, what would you say for somebody like myself or people like myself, because I know quite a lot of them who are in this kind of vicious cycle?
You need to hire someone like we do at our company, whatever feels good to you, to literally be strapped to your dating life for 6 to 12 months and to make sure that you aren't accepting the wrong people. Because remember, anything you do from a place of fear usually gets you back to the same spot again. So you have to make a change to get change, right? And I always say you have to take massive action to get something different. And if not, the awareness is one thing. And I love the fact that you have the awareness, right? That's why I'm saying you're not broken at the end of the day. You just need more assistance around you at this point to make sure that you don't end up in the same situation and flailing around without a life ring, right? Put the life ring on, for God's sake. The life rings exist, and people are like, I don't need that. I'm in therapy. I'm like, see you in 3 years when you come back going, shit, I wish I didn't age out another 3 years. I should have done this back then. And that's what happens. And then suddenly it's like, exhale. People's shoulders come down. Like, I get this. I get what you're going to do. And you're going to keep me safe. And you're going to make sure I don't do this again. I'm like, as long as you feed my team good information, and we have dating scorecards, we have everything in here to protect people from themselves, essentially, and to give us good information, then we're going to navigate your boat in the right way. And you will not hit the iceberg.
Right. Absolutely. So Bela, how does your, please tell us, how does your, your Smart Dating Academy works? Like I think you have some online courses that you offer somewhere from $35 up to what is it, $15,000 for the year, is it? Or
that
per
was the
month?
amazing
I'm sorry.
Amanda
So
Matt.
please
Thank
tell
you
me
so
a
much
little
for
bit more
joining us
about
for this
Yeah,
podcast.
so we
I
have
will see
different
you guys
levels that
next
people can
week.
opt into. Just
Don't forget to
created a new
subscribe to our
product,
channel
that
for
is,
Minority
we
Reports.
launched it
Watch,
last month.
like,
It's sold out.
subscribe,
It's
share
called
with
Love
your
Lab,
friends.
and we're doing another
I'm
one on
bringing
June
in artists from
13th.
around the
Three
world,
Slots
not just
left.
the
So
U.S.,
we're
not
right
just
now
from the
we've been
West,
known for
but
our
also from
higher
the Middle
end
East, across the
one-on-one,
board.
like
That's
having a
what we
personal
want.
trainer for your love life kind of
Artists,
thing,
change makers,
which we do
you
3
name
or
it,
6 or
we're
12
gonna bring
months
them.
for.
Thank
But
you
now
very much for
because
tuning in.
48% of American adults are single, so I'm actively trying. My goal, nobody starts a dating coach company to become a billionaire. My goal is to help people learn how to do this from whatever walk of life they come from. So we're doing these lower cost master classes. We're doing these love labs now that are, in the 3-digit range. And so we'll keep putting products in there to try to help people across all ranges at the levels that they're ready to do it.
So the Love Lab is it an online course now, given the whole pandemic and everything? Is it like it's
a 3-hour Zoom workshop with me and my head dating coach, where we are putting together your online dating stuff, curating your photos. We've written a book that just launched last month that we're only giving to our Love Lab clients right now, but we'll probably put it on our website come July, where we give you a template to write your own profile, and it jumps off the page. One for a conventional site, one for a dating app, because people don't know how to write about themselves. They don't know what aspects to position and what they don't. So we put together this super awesome, one of our Love Lab clients, she's 42 years old, and she's like, I've worked with other coaches, I've done other things, I've never seen a guide like this. This is amazing. I was like, okay, good. It's been in my head forever. So I was trying to extract the information from here and put it down in a way that's actually helpful to more people. So the Love Lab's a Zoom workshop.
So what you guys are doing is basically, just like you said, fixing the picker. So that's what's happening.
One part, yeah.
One part. So is there another part where you're like, if I'm somebody like me who's living in Los Angeles, or somebody who's living in New York or not Chicago, how does that person, besides fixing the picker, do you also help find that person a right match? Do you also have a roster of men or a roster of women where you try to connect them to?
No.
Is that also part of the deal?
No, because we're teaching you who your high GHQ guy is. And so now the world's your oyster. So we are teaching you. We're like going to school to learn how to do this. I want you to learn how to identify the right kinds of guys. Learn how to identify the red flags, right? So now we're along for the ride with you. We're in your inbox, looking at your swipes, looking at your messages. So we're in it, but we're not handing people to you, right? There's no better matchmaker for you than you. And for any of you listening to this, you are your own best matchmaker if you know what you should be looking for.
That is literally the best dating advice I've ever heard.
Oh, thank you.
It really is. I mean, I watch a lot of dating advice videos. You know what? I'm always fascinated by how I talk to men, and men are always like, women are so complicated. And I'm like, if we are so complicated, why are most of the dating videos on men? I was like, if we are so complicated, why are most of these videos about how to figure you guys out? Clearly we're both complex creatures because we're human. Humans are complex, period. I don't think it's a gender thing. I think it's a human thing.
You're right.
Bella, so where can people go to sign up for the Love Lab? Because it sounds amazing and exciting, and I want to check it out, and I want to see if I can do it.
Do it now. There's 3 spots left. Literally go to smartdatingacademy.com. I can give you a link if you want, but it's under our one-on-one services, and it says it says services, one-on-one coaching, and then it'll say the Love Lab, and then you'll see this stupidly giant photo of me, which I need to replace with something that's more attractive than a giant mug of my head. But it describes what you'll do in the Love Lab, and it's like thinking about the love and the passion and the romance and the companionship that people want. And this Love Lab helps you to take that first step. It's not fixing pickers yet, but it's in the cyber marketing. So you asked, what do we do? It's like, you've got to have the right stuff out there, the right pictures. You've got to say the right things. You've got to be messaging the right people, looking for some red flags. So this is that first step in restarting the process, right?
Right.
Fixing the picker is something that's usually best done one-on-one, because at that point, not many people want all their stuff out there in front of 12 other strangers. They want to reserve that for me and my team. So that's a higher level of thing that we do, and it's best done one-on-one. But the Love Lab gets you a good start to at least dip your toe back in to post-COVID dating right now. And then dating numbers go up around the holidays. They increase massively. December through February is peak dating season. So do the Love Lab, come one-on-one coach with us, fix your damn pickers, guys, or you're going to do the same things over and over again with no different results. For any of you, I go to all of your weddings. I go to a ton of weddings. I get invited to a ton of weddings. I have the best job in the world.
I love it. I love all of it. Bill, one last thing. What do you say to people who are like right now with the pandemic? A lot of people have lost their jobs. The income is not that great, but they still want to work on themselves. And this is such a great time to take the time to work on yourself. And they're a little bit financially strapped. What do you say to people like that if they want to come and work with you?
Start with the Love Lab. I don't know if that's too inaccessible. It just depends on what your budget is, right? At least
Can I ask how much it is?
The Love Lab is $850, right? And now when you look at what the cost would be to do 3 hours with me, with my head dating coach, to have an online profile, the Love Lab is actually almost a 75% discount to what all of those a la carte hours would be. And you walk out with the profile, you walk out with your curated photos. But we right now have a masterclass for sale on our site. It's called Dating Over 50 in Pandemic and Beyond. But truly, it's usable for anybody, whether you're 50, we've had 35-year-olds. I had a 27-year-old buy the course the other day. So there's things, for different price levels at this point. Or if you want a one-on-one consultation, email through our site, right? Everything's available on there. There's something from 35 to 175 to 300 to 500 to 850, right? There's lots of things for lots of different folks.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. Bela, this has been fantastic. I wasn't expecting, I was expecting a lot of information, but I wasn't expecting the best dating advice. That I wasn't expecting. So
thank you. You totally made my day.
No, seriously, it literally is. As someone who has been lost in the love world, who has been an epic failure, that was really comforting to hear. Bela, thank you so much. Where can we find you on your social medias? Where can we find you?
I do Instagram Live, 7 p.m. Thursday. I've been doing them since COVID. I'll be doing one this Thursday night. Follow me at Smart Dating Academy on Facebook and Instagram.
All right. Awesome. No Twitter. You're not.
Oh, I'm Bela Gandhi Love on Twitter. Okay. I'm not a big tweeter. Yeah. I'm more Insta Facebook. So, or I wouldn't be able to run my company.
I feel I'm totally with you, Bela. I'm totally with you. You are amazing. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Thank you
amazing.
So much.
This was really great. Thank you so much.
You're amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was our episode with Bela Gandhi. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on, you can catch us on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, all the places where all the major podcasts are streamed. I'm your host, Shaikh, and I will see you next time.